Hi, Julie Torrens here. I have some mixed media, Strathmore mixed media. It's the 400 series, and it is 11 by 14, and it's 184 pounds or 300 GMS. So this is the kind of paper that I'm using, and I've cut it down. And what I'm going to do is I'm working on artist trading cards, but I wanted to do some watercolor ones. So I cut, and this was some offcuts that I had. I cut these 2 by 3 because they are going on top of the artist trading card size, which is 2.5 by 3.5. Now, I'm not going to use this particular piece, but I just had it ready to show you so that when I mount it, that's going to be, kind of what it looks like. So, that'll be cool, right? So that's why I've got those cut the way I do. And then I've got this one cut, and this one is, I don't know, 10 inches this way, but it's 3 inches this way. And so I can cut it later. And we're going to do some watercolor. What do you think of that? So let's put out a few of these. I can feel my voice is going. Don't worry, I'll be all right. So let's get 3 of those. I have 2 left over. And mixed media paper is not watercolor paper, but it is designed for water. So it works well with watercolor. I wouldn't try to do a masterpiece on it, but then I don't do too many masterpieces. I've got my Paper Fashions. They don't make it anymore. This was an American Craft product, but it's my shimmery and metallics. So I've got that out. And then I've got my Jane Davenport. And again, they don't make this exact thing. Now, she still has a color palette out called Brights, and I think it's very similar. But this was when she was with American Crafts. But it's the Brights watercolor. These are both student grade. And it's not that I'm unaware that this is messy, but when you have watercolor left like this, you can still use it. So I just don't want to waste the product. You know what I mean? Okay, I'm going to move you out just a little bit. Hang on, you'll be all right. There, because I can just see that I've got you just a little bit where I'm afraid I won't be working in the frame. All right, so we've got the watercolors, we've got water, we've got watercolor brushes. Let's get started. So for these 3, I want to put some watercolor flowers, just like here, 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 in the center, on their own, 3 little sets of flowers. So I'm grabbing a couple of smaller brushes. This is a Simply Simmons, and this is a number 4 round. And I'm going to grab the one that I call a Twiggy. Now, this is another Simply Simmons, and this is it's a 5/0, real small. But, we're working small today. I don't think I'm going to need that one. And then I've got this brush. I always call this a Twiggy. Some call it a liner brush, and it's a master's touch. So that is Hobby Lobby, I believe, and it's a number 2. Okay, that'll get us started. So I'm going to wet a brush, and we're going to be making some real simple flowers. Now, can you see my paints at all? Let's move these out of the way just for a moment and bring these in so that maybe you'll be able to kind of see them. Well, you'll just have to trust me. All right. So, because I brought you in close because I want you to be able to see. All right, I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to start though, restart, right? Activate the paints. Not all watercolors need activating, but some do. I just activate whatever I'm using. Professional grade, student grade, doesn't matter. All right. Little something on the card, that's okay. All right, I'm going to start out with a Happy Flower color. This is kind of a pinkish tone. And I'm just going to put 3 dots. 1, 2, 3. I'm rinsing my brush, I'm dabbing it off, and now I'm just going to create a petal shape. Just like that. This is not hard. Not hard at all. And there. This one seems a little small. Okay. And let's give it another one. Down here, 1, 2, 3 dots. Rinse. Dab off my brush on a paper towel. And working some petals again. I mean, what could be simpler? But they're so pretty. I mean, seriously. Good. All right. And once more. And this one, I think I'm just going to give it 2 dots. Rinsing and drying. And there we have it. Okay, now I'm going to let this one go and let it dry a little bit and start working on this one. And I'm going into the yellow. Now my yellow looks like it had maybe a little blue in it and it turned green, so I'm just going to dab that off on the paper towel, re-rinse, and now I'm going to go ahead into the yellow. All right, 3 dots. 1, it's not wet enough. A little more water. 1, 2, 3. All right. Yellow isn't always the brightest. I mean, this is a good bright yellow, don't get me wrong, but I'm going to rev it up a little bit. I'll show you what I mean. I'm just going into a kind of a red color. And I'm just going to put a dot while it's wet right near the center. There. All right, now another one. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I don't need paint. Okay, here we go. Don't worry about perfection. Don't worry. These are just kind of wildflowers. Now back into that kind of a reddish tone and just a little drop in the center. All right. And once more. Good. Rinse and dab off. You can tell, I hope, these are not precision. You don't need precision. Red dots. And just let them do their thing. All right, one more. And I'm going in for a purple. So what kind of flowers are these? Fantasy flowers. Nothing specific. Oh, too much water. So what's on your desk? On your work table? What are you doing? Maybe it's on your dining room table. What you working on? Have you been doing some art journaling? I'd love to hear about it. What are you doing in your art journal? Maybe there's a different kind of journal that you're working in. Maybe it's like a Bible journal or a prayer journal, or maybe it's a kind of a to-do list type of journal. Let me know in the comments what you're working on here. 3 more dots. And 3 more flowers. I like the way these flower petals are drying. I like just the way the water is settled out with this purple. I think it's pretty. Okay. We've got those. Let's go back to this one. And back into that pink shade that we started with. Now I'm just going to give this one 1 dot, because this flower is not facing us. And go ahead and overlap those petals. They look pretty when you do that. Let's get some more paint. 3 dots. Just like that. Rinsing. Dabbing off. Nice. Okay. Last one. And bring it out. Now, some of these petals may look lighter than others, darker than others. You know, that just kind of can be just how the light is playing off of them. Okay, there's that one. And now to the yellow. Back into the yellow paint. 3 dots. 1, 2, 3. Rinse my brush, dab it off. And doing it the way I did it, like 3 and 3, it just kind of helps me line up the petals nice. And I know most people will say, you know, it should be an odd number. Well, this has 6, and that's fine with me. That petal's going right over that other one. That's good. I think this, I'm grabbing just a little paint. I think this petal needs to be wider. Yeah. Wouldn't hurt for this one to be a little wider. All right, let's get that red color that we had used and get that in there. Oh, I didn't do it in the other one, did I? Were you yelling at me? I'm slow, but I caught on. Okay, I can tell that yellow is just a little bit drier today. All right, rinse, dab off. Too wet, there we go. And there. Go in the red. Okay. Another one. Purple. Grab some purple paint. Dot, dot, dot. Dry it off. Isn't that pretty? Sure it does. 3 more dots. And just turn it into petals. Nice. All right. Get some more dots here. Rinse. Dry it off. There. I'm going to bring this one out a little bit. Okay. I like those. All right, now I'm going to work on the bottom. Now I've got this weird bluish, grayish kind of a color down at the bottom. I'm going to add to it some yellow because I want it to be of a green shade. See? Look at all that paint there. Be ashamed to waste that paint. And I'm just going to work right now on the ground. And I'm going to make it a little bit like a hillish, like this. And I'm just dotting, 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 dotting. And now I'm going to rinse. I'm going to grab another green. And I'm going to do the same thing. And it's just going to give it a little variety in there. Now I'm going to take that liner brush. I'm going to wet it. I'm going to dry it off on a paper towel. And now I'm going to make grasses. Just flicking upwards. Just like that. Okay. And let that one rest. Come over here. Get some more of that original green that I started with. Good. Some of this other green. And there's little white spaces, and that's fine. And now my little liner brush, I'm just dragging up some little grassy things. Okay. On to the last one here. And I'm grabbing that green that I just created, heading into the bluish part of it. Dots. Going into that other green, didn't even rinse my brush off. More dots. Liner brush. Oh, when it gets all splayed out like that, it just needs a little water. There. Okay, got that done. Let's go back to, well, let's stick with this one. And let's think about centers. So I'm going to grab this yellow and I just know from experience that if I add a touch of the pink here, this bright, bright pink, it'll give me kind of a, I don't know, an orangey yellow. And I'm going to just take this. Now this brush that I'm using is obviously very small and it does not have a whole lot of water in it. And I'm just going to create some centers. Yeah, that looks good to me. Okay, next one. So I'm going to add even more of that pink to this. And let's get some centers in here. Good. Last one. And let's get some, I'm going straight into the yellow. I'm just going to rev it up a little bit. Nice. Good. Okay. Now, pardon me. I just rinsed off this brush, drying it, going into this green color. Can you see that? Going into this. And I'm just going to, I don't want that stray hair like that. And I'm just going to give it some stems. Very thin, very wiggly stems. A little thicker, huh? That looks good to me. And now to add some little flowers, I'm going to take that round brush that I used to make the petals. And I'm going into that green that I just showed you, pulling up a little more of that blue. I just added a little yellow to it. It's like if I have you see one thing, I can't have you see another thing. You know what I mean? All right, now into here, and I'm just going to make some little dot leaves like this. I'm just barely dotting the paper. Maybe kind of like a comma shape, I guess. There. Okay. Let's work on this one. Rinsing that one off, going back to my liner brush, into this. Creating some stems. Yeah, I like those stems. Rinse, go back to that bigger brush, picking up some more of this paint. And again, I'm just little dots. Yeah, nice. All right, last one. Liner brush. I'm going to add some of this yellow. Okay, it's wet. Dried my brush off a little. All right, you boy. Bring you down here, here, and here. Good. Rinsing. Bigger brush. Picking up some paint. Little dots. Very nice, very nice. Okay, so we've got these three. I like them. The yellow one, awful lot of space up here. What am I going to do about that? Well, I'm going to clean out this yellow first of all and just rinse that out. And I think I'm going to just maybe put maybe some buds. And let those dry a little bit. Now, I'm going into, can you see these? I'm going into some gold. Right here. And I did activate it, but these paints, I don't care how expensive, how inexpensive, they take just a little more oomph with your brush to get them to activate and so that you can actually get some pigment on your brush. Okay, now I'm going to move these aside. And I'm just going to put my hand like this. And I'm hitting it with the gold. With like splattery. Okay. And this one, a little more water, a little more paint. Not getting anything. Needs more water. Here we go. There we go. Now, there. Good. And we'll connect up those little buds in just a sec. I'm just letting the yellow dry a little bit. Purple. Well, Julie, let's get another brush. Huh? Nothing. There we go. I feel it on my hands. Okay. All right. This one I'm calling done. This one I need to connect those buds. And this one I'm calling done. So I'm setting the ones that I've called done in the way off here. And this one, I'm going to just, it might be dry enough. Let's see what we can do. Can't ruin it, I promise. All right. Liner brush, grabbing up some of that green. Set it down, Julie. There we go. And bring that down like that. And let's get our bigger brush into that green color. Couple little leaves. A little more paint. There. Now that one's done. Nice. Okay, now we've got this one. Is there a side I like better? Not really. Okay, so this one, what I want to do is I want to have it like how we had these. The bottom was kind of a mound. All the way across it's going to go. Flowers instead of in a group, all the way across. And I want this to be looser. I want it to be, I don't know, just more. That's what I'm thinking. More. So I'm going to get a bigger watercolor brush like this monster. This is a number 16 Master's Touch. And I'm going to turn my paints around. I realize you can't see everything, but this is what was biggest on my mind that I want you to be able to see. Okay, so let's start out with some flowers. What kind of flowers? I don't know. Fantasy flowers. Okay, so wet my brush. I'm going to put a circle here, a circle here, and an oval here. And I'm not worrying about composition because I'm going to be cutting these up. And let's go into that purpley color we were using. And I'm just filling in with some pigment. And it will only go as far as the water is. And these are going to need some doodling. But that's fine. Okay. There's a start. Maybe I was going to say I could put some centers in. I don't think I'm going to put centers in, but I'm going into this pink. It's like a hot pink. And I'm just going to put like a ring. Once it's dry, it may not even show. I don't know. We'll know it's there. And there. A little more here. Yeah. Okay. That's great. Now, what else? Well, I'm going to set that brush aside, going back to the number 4 that we were using at the beginning. And I'm going to start out with a darker pink. It's almost kind of like, I don't know, a magenta-y color maybe. And I'm going to give it a C shape, C shape, C shape, little thicker, good. Little more, little more, little more. Okay, leave that to rest. Grab some more paint. A little too much water. Try again. Put one here. You can do this. I know you can. I'm going to put one up here. If you hear a dog barking, it's not my dog. Nothing I can do about it, I'm afraid. Okay. Now, let's get the hot pink again. And I'm going to add some kind of dotty upside down teardrop or right side up teardrop shapes. Again. Kind of a fat one. Another one. Yeah. Another one. Okay. And let's do some of our 3 dotty ones. How about that? Going into the blue. I haven't used it yet today, so I'm really trying to work it. There we go. All right. 3 dots. Rinse. Make some petal shapes. Good. Grabbing more of that blue. I'm just doing 2. And then I'm just going to add like here and here. And bring this one out a little bit. Okay, that'll be fine. And another blue one. Don't need paint. Sometimes I lose track of what I'm doing, huh? Yep. That's me for you. Sometimes my brain is going so many more steps ahead, and I need to just concentrate on what I'm doing. Okay. These are coming out a little bit fainter. That's all right. Okay. I'm liking these. Let's go back and... Did you bring a cup of coffee? I've got mine. It's decaf, but I still enjoy my coffee. That's nice. So, did you have to turn your clocks around? We did here in Michigan. We're of the clock changing for daylight savings time. I wish that we would just stay now where we are and just quit changing. But I like the daylight savings time with a little bit more light in the evening. You know, I'm one of these, want to get home before dark kind of thing. So if dark doesn't happen quite so quickly, that'd be fine with me. But seeing as I'm not queen of the world, I just do what we're told. A lot of people have stuff to say all about it, but I don't have anything quite so complex. I've heard everything that if we don't change the time, it's going to change global warming and everything else. I never saw the connection, but again, I'm not expert. Okay, going into, this is another kind of a reddish, pinkish color. This particular set has a lot of that. There's like 4 in the pinkish, reddish kind of colors, and you only have 12 to begin with. I'm going to go into these pink dots, and I'm just going to add some towards the middle. Just another layer. Give them a little bit of depth is my hope. I may bring it, though, all the way up to the top with just a few dots that way. Yeah. I like that. Yeah, good, good, good. Okay, now, these things, don't really know what they are. I'm getting the old big brush out again. It's wet, but I did dab it off, And now I'm going through and I'm just giving it just like that. No more. But it's going to kind of fill it in and give it its own little bit of dimension like that. And let that dry. Okay, going to the blue ones. How about some centers? I've got the yellow and I've got this little bit of kind of a orangey color going. I'm just using that up and I'm just going to put in some yellow. Good, good. Okay, now I need to get flowers way over here on the ends. I can't ignore those ends. So I'm going back into the blue and let's give it a 1. Can you see? A 1, 2, 3 right there. Good. And let's get one on the other far end. Ooh, that's really wet. There. Good. Good. Yeah. That's nice. Okay. Let those rest a minute. I'm going to go into this color, this other ready color. And let's do another one of these C-shape. Yep. And another one over here maybe. Okay, let that sit for a minute. I think we can go back to the blue. We probably aren't going to get all this done, but we will get together again. I'm going to put all the dots in at once. We will get together again and we will put together, cut this up, all that. But it's just feeling like we're getting a little long here. That's okay. There we go. All right. Now, big brush. I realize I don't have the centers in yet, and I still need to do those too, but I'm going into the gold, and we're going to do some splatters. And then I'm going to do the green. All right. Now this seems awfully wet. Heaven only knows what we're going to get. Let's just see. Good. That's nice. All right. Now, for the bottoms. Now, I'm not talking about the stems yet, but I'm just going to get a little kind of a green, and we've got this here. So I'm going into the yellow, and I am turning all this into this green. I'm going to get some dots going. And yes, they're bigger dots. Some high, some low. There's the green. All the way to the end. All the way to the end. Okay. Dry Now, I'm going to get, this is a very stiff brush. I've got to figure out how to hold this, and I'm just going to drag this up. And I'm going to get these kind of grassy look. Going down a little bit. Okay, there's our grassy look. Good. Rinse that off. And let's get some centers in our newest blue flowers. Oh boy, got green and the yellow again. That's how I do. Cleaning that off. It's probably why I go through yellow as much as I do. I'm going to add a sliver of this pink. All right. And we've got one over here. And we've got one over here. Good. All right. Monster brush. I just wet it. Dab, dab. And like that. Rinse. Dab, dab. And just give this a swirl. There. Okay. Stems. Well, we're not going to pick out each individual flower, I don't think. I've got my little slender brush here, and let's just see how this goes. Yeah, maybe I will pick them out. I don't know. Started out that way. I don't want any of them just hanging off in midair. That always looks a little odd. Good. Now, I'm going to take this and I'm going to bring some green like this and this. And again. And in the background. Good. Okay. Maybe a little more. Right off the top. Okay. And I'm taking the number 4 back into that same green color. And I'm just going to add some leaves, kind of leaf dots along these tall ones. Now I will be coming back to these, some of these flowers, and maybe gel pen, maybe white pen, something. And I'm going to work on those purpley ones, these. But I can't do it now because the gold is still wet on them and stuff like that. So again, we'll finish these guys and put together. Maybe I'll just have a handful of different types of ATCs that we can just kind of finish them all up together. That'd be fun. I think it would be fun. Thank you for hanging in with me this long. I need subscribers. If you would please consider subscribing. If you're not subscribed, I mean, today's a good day for that, right? I think so. Okay, these purple ones. I am going to add some centers, and I'm just trying to decide a color. I think I'm going to go with this. It's kind of the darkest reddish kind of color. And I'm just going to add some centers like that. Like that. Okay. And those need to dry. All right. So this is started and these are started. What can you see? What can't you see? Let me see. Okay. So we've got that needs to dry. And we've got these that are almost dry. And we're going to be making some watercolor ATCs pretty soon. In the meantime, please consider subscribing. It helps me so much. I'm so grateful that you're here today, and I look forward to seeing you in another video. Bye now.